We again welcome you in our YouTube channel, that is Mathematical World. Today's topic is types of numbers. Today we will delve into the number world. Let us discuss the main types of numbers. We will discuss here few types of numbers. After that we will give into deep explanation of that numbers. First of all, first number system is the natural numbers. टाइप्स ऑफ नंबर्स में पहला जो टाइप होता है वो है नेचुरल नंबर्स. दैट इज द नेचुरल नंबर्स represented by letter n. these numbers are these numbers are called as counting numbers. Why are these called as counting numbers? Because they start from 1. These numbers start from 1. These start from 1 and extend up to infinity. They extend up to infinity. Mathematically represented as 1 up to infinity. As we are seeing here that there is no zero in this number system, because zero has no value, but some definitions include zero in natural number system. But in overall dimension, zero is excluded from this very type. So this natural number system, these contain the numbers from 1 and up to infinity. Zero is also excluded in this number system according to some mathematicians, but in overall dimension, zero is excluded from this very type. After that comes the type of numbers that are called as whole numbers. These numbers are very similar to natural numbers, but difference is only zero is included in the system. Zero is included in this very system. Listening from childhood, we study whole numbers, but why are these numbers called as whole numbers? Because whole means full. Whole means full. That is, this number type includes full numbers. That is, no part of number is included in this type. अगर इस टाइप ऑफ नंबर में हम नंबर लेंगे तो वो पूरा होगा. फॉर एग्जांपल, मैंने 1 लिया, ये पूरा है. 2 लिया, ये पूरा है. 3 लिया या 4, it is whole. And in this very system, the first number is 0. Whole numbers start from 0 and end up to infinity. That is, wherever it will end, no one knows. It will go on extending from 0 to up to infinity. Third type is integers. तीसरा जो टाइप है वो है इंटीजर्स. इंटीजर्स include all positive as well as their negatives. As all we know that every coin has two faces. Every word has its opposite. In the mathematical world, every positive number has its negative. Every positive number has its negative. Every word has its negative. Addition has opposite subtraction. Profit has opposite loss. High has opposite low. Gain has opposite loss. In this context, we will study in detailed explanation how integers are used to represent both positive as well as negative value. For example, deposit means positive value, withdrawal means negative value. For that very situation, we need negatives as well as positives. That is the set called as integers. Integers include all positive as well as their negatives. Mathematically, integers are represented as z by the English letter z. Z include 0, 1, 2, -1, -2, up to minus infinity. Here it goes up to plus infinity. In natural number system, only positive numbers are included. In a whole number, only positive numbers are included. In integer, in this very type, both positive as well as negative numbers are included. As in a real life situation, we come in that very situations where we both need positive as well as negative numbers. As we have seen, profit means positive, loss means negative. Up to that very position, we are concluding this topic of natural numbers, whole numbers, and integers. Now let us discuss fourth type of numbers that I have written already here is rational numbers. Numbers, it is the number type. Numbers which can be expressed in the form of P by Q, where Q cannot be equal to 0. It is the basic definition of this number system. It is the basic definition of this number system. But when we go deeper in this type, this definition does not remains confined to this very topic. Rational numbers, numbers which can be expressed in the form of P by Q, where Q cannot be equal to 0. For example, 1 by 2, 0 by 1, 3 by 4, 4 by 3. This is the basic definition of rational numbers. But when we go deeper, rational numbers have another definition. Rational numbers have another definition. Basically, rational numbers are fractions. Rational numbers are fractions. We know fraction means part of whole. Rational numbers are fractions. But their decimal expansion should be repeating, should be non-repeating, and non-reoccurring. And also, when we go to another level, that is deeper level, rational numbers are in form of p by q, but p comma q should be co-prime, should be co-prime. This word co-prime will come into our topic later on, but here you will understand this, that p and q, if are two numbers, they should have only one as common factor. इनके दरमियान जो कॉमन फैक्टर होगा वो सिर्फ वन होगा. That is the definition of rational number. For example, 3 by 4. 3 has factors 1, 3. 4 has factors 1, 4. So common factor क्या आया? 1. That is 3, 4 are co-prime. What are they? Co-prime. In this context, here comes another type of numbers that are called as irrational numbers. Irrational numbers. Here it should be noted that rational numbers are expressed by letter Q. Irrational numbers are opposite of rational. Irrational numbers cannot be expressed as p by q if q is equal to 0. That is 2 by 0 not rational. It is the first definition. If q is 0, that is they are not rational. That is they are irrational. Second definition is if 2, for example, 22 by 7, decimal expansion is non-terminating. What does that mean? If I divide 22 by 7, there comes result 3.14257. That is non-repeating and non-recurring, non-terminating and non-recurring. That means irrational. That means irrational. Third definition is if p by q, for example 5 by 10, here 5, 10 are not co-prime. Obviously they are not co-prime as 5 has factors 1, 5, 10 has factors 1, 2, 5, 10. They have more than one factor as common, so they are not co-prime. That means 5 by 10 is irrational, but that is not true holding. Now let us discuss the fifth type of numbers, that is real numbers. Real numbers. These numbers, this number system, these numbers include all rational as well as irrational numbers. फॉर एग्जाम्पल √2 में आता है 5, 0, -5, all numbers whether rational or irrational. For example, also pi is included in this very system. So in a real number type, it includes all rational as well as irrational numbers. And the sixth one comes complex numbers. Before studying the complex numbers, we must be aware with imaginary numbers. So it is here good to explain what is imaginary number. For example, the real number is 0, that means nothing. 1 is the number, that means 1. 2 is the number, that means 2. But -1 is the number, that is imagination. That is imagination. On that very type, we will explain complex numbers. What are these complex numbers? Numbers that have a real part as well as imaginary part are called as complex numbers. For example, in mathematics, -1 is imaginary number. It is imagination. Can you explain I have -1 apples? Can you explain I have -1 pen? No, it is imagination. It has meaning, but it has imaginary meaning. In mathematics, -1 is imaginary number. So it is represented as iota. I, and I square is equal to -1. So complex number is the number which have both real part as well as imaginary part. So complex number is 3 plus 2i. Here 3 is the real part, 2i is the imaginary part. This is the definition of complex numbers. In this very context, we will explain imaginary numbers. Already discussed what are real numbers. Now we will discuss imaginary numbers. Numbers that have no real value or can't be explained are called as imaginary numbers. For example, -1 represented by I square. Here I square is imaginary number called as iota. So these numbers have meaning but in imagination. These have definite meaning but in imagination. That is why called as imaginary numbers. Thank you for your cooperation, and it is enough for today's lecture. Next time we will meet you with new topic, that is prime numbers, even numbers, odd numbers. Thank you. Have a nice day.